So we're going to be discussing the Houston Rockets. So what's going on, guys? Welcome in to the podcast. I believe that this is episode 3 of the Ball Up podcast. So today we are going to be discussing the current state of the Houston Rockets and what I think they need to do to win a title. And I think it's pretty simple. So we're going to discuss all that today. If you guys are new here, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And so basically, just showed Russ in a, oh, never mind. Okay. Basically, I think what the Rockets need to do to contend is, you see that man going after the tip, PJ Tucker. I don't think he can't be the starting center on a championship team, man. I don't see it happening. I know you have great guys around him like Harden and Russ, but I think you need a traditional center, and that Capella trade really hurt you guys, the Houston Rockets. I mean, they did get Rocco back, which is cool, but I think maybe more than Covington, they need a center. I think that it's literally just the number one need that this team the number one thing this team needs is a center. And then Daniel House, I view him way more as a bench player than a starter. Don't get me wrong, the man is great. Or a great role player. So, Houston, I think they need to, please hear me out, Houston. Put him on the bench. I think you need to put him on the bench. And then, I'm not saying that you rebuild, but you maybe should trade, probably should move on from Eric Gordon. His contract is huge. And I think if you trade him, you have a little bit more cap flexibility. You can move him to a rebuilding team who will take on an expiring deal once he's expiring. So I kind of think that should be their route that they should follow for that whole situation. But maybe, I think, I don't know why I'm saying maybe so much, get a bench player. I think that they could get a bench player either in free agency, like Jeff Green and Damari Carroll are a little bit up there in age, especially Jeff Green. I think you could get better. The signing for one year was fine, I think, during the middle of the season. So I think that maybe getting a guy through the draft, if you can trade up in the draft, or not even trade up, but land yourself at pick 25. I think that pick even 20, I'll say. I think that would be a very good spot for them, because then once they're at that spot, they can draft a young player that they believe in. It's their pick. And I think that's going to help them very much, is to get a young guy in here who doesn't need to score, but who can fit this team, because you already have your scorer in James Harden. You have your guy who can average 35 a night. And I think that if you get solid bench players around him in a better center, you'll be good. And Tucker, I don't see him competing in the West against a center like JaVale McGee on the Lakers, because he's more of a traditional center. Tucker probably is better, but a traditional center, a lot of the teams have traditional centers, like Brook Lopez on Milwaukee. That's a team, if you meet in the finals, you're outmatched there, and you're already outmatched with Giannis, because Russ and Harden are going to be taking on Bledsoe and Matthews. But the point is, your forwards, you gotta do something about this. Personally, I think that something that they could entertain is not trading Russ or Harden, but trading Tucker. Maybe even instead of putting him on the bench or having him start at the 4, trade him. He was younger when they were in the conference finals against GSW, the Golden State Warriors, and he was at the 4 spot. But I think that you need to trade him, even if you don't want him coming off the bench. Just get a better center. Any center, really, you need. And it has to fit around Harden and Russ, because those are your 2 best players on your team that if you probably want to win a ring with holding on to them too. You want to win a ring while holding on to them too. So in order to do something like that, I think that they really do need to get a good center. I think it has to happen. Now, as far as the staff goes, I think you got to fire Mike D'Antoni and Daryl Morey. I don't know. The results have not been there. Maybe in 2017-18, that year, but going down from a 1 seed to a 4 seed with the Rockets, like after not losing any players and stuff. Other teams did get better, I will say. In that season, like the Warriors got better with like just developing more as a team, adding Cousins, even though he didn't really play that year. But it's a significant downgrade, I guess, from being the 1 seed to the 4 seed. So I think that the results have not been there. You go out in the second round last year. You probably are going to go out in the second round. I see them if they match up against Denver, beating Denver in 6 or 7. I think they match up good against them. But then losing, to the whoever they play in the conference finals or the semifinals, I think you need to fire D'Antoni and Morey and get a new head staff in there. Change things up. I think it has to be done. I think you definitely need to change up a little bit for the sake of the team. Obviously, for the sake of the team. But, yeah, I think it has to happen. Gordon is on a hefty contract, and if you want some cap flexibility, move on from him. I think that the guys who should be making the most money are Russ and Harden, and then you can maybe, celebration there, you can maybe have players for cheaper contracts, like an Austin Rivers on your team. Robert Covington off the bench maybe, or at the starting small forward spot. Maybe if you have to hold on to Tucker, put him at the 4, get a better center, man. At this point, Tucker next year might even have to come off the bench. And I think that if they're smart, they'll do that. But like a Jeff Green and Carroll as your 6th and 7th man, probably won't get it done if you lose Ben McLemore if you trade him. But I don't think they should. I think he's having a great year, probably one of the best years, if not the best of his career. And then, for statistical-wise, and then you could, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, you could probably move on from, what is it? From Green and Carroll, but keep Rivers as a backup. Rivers is good. I think he's doing just fine. But I don't think your centers to win a championship are going to be Tyson Chandler and PJ Tucker. I just don't see it. And, if the staff really wants to make a move like that where you have Tucker, they won their first game against LA with that experimenting that, but in the long run, I don't see it happening. So, Russ, if they need to keep him at the center, Russ and Harden need to play their minds out, but I think that, to be honest, they should probably, Harden, is, I think a way better player than Russ, than Tucker, but I think that, trading, probably moving on from some of those bench guys and getting better players and then getting your staff, just in free agency, a mid-level exception, even on a player who's decent. Like, if they picked up, like, a Marcus Morris Sr. or something like that, I think that'd be a much better fit, like he was for the Celtics. Like, just can come in here, score the ball at that power forward spot, play a little defense, and I think that's what they need. Russ can play D. Harden, not so much, but what I was saying is Chandler is not going to be your starting or backup center, I don't think, on a championship team along with PJ. So I think they need to move on from them. I think it has to happen because, if we look at it in context, your starting five's not great there. And I think that, your front office to make I think kind of a dumb trade for them with that Capella trade. I mean, I think the Rockets definitely wanted to go all in this year, somewhat always. I mean, they were like an 8 seed once, and they came up to a 6 seed. In 15-16, they were an 8 seed, barely made the playoffs. They sniffed it barely, and then they became a 3 seed in 2016-17, which was a great year for them. So I also am leaning towards the idea of firing the staff, to not make a trade like that, to have Tucker start at your center spot. And no disrespect to Tucker, man. I just don't see him as a starting center in this league. I see him as a bench power forward, I think. Basically, I think a lot of you guys will agree with that. That, maybe I was eating my words. I felt this way after the trade. Maybe after the first game, eating my words. But then, looking at it more in context, because they won the first game with him at the center spot. Maybe looking at this more in context, not But I think that's what they need to do, man. I mean, I definitely think that is what the Houston Rockets should do if they're smart to contend for a championship. They couldn't be Golden State, and now I think the new Golden State team, that that team they're not going to be able to beat, like the Lakers or something like that. I mean, of course, adding Anthony Davis definitely plays a huge impact, but I think that they struggle more with Tucker at that center spot. He's more of a stretch four who definitely can stretch the floor from the corner. I mean, he shoots the three, probably one of the best shooters from the corner, at least, I would say. So I think that's what they have to do to win a championship. Leave a comment. I'm not getting many comments, so leave a comment what you guys think. I'm sure you guys will agree with this. Definitely leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Bradley just sauced me there. But yeah, because I definitely think that they're capable of doing great things with Harden and Russ. I mean, that's what they wanted to do when they traded for Russ. So, you know what? I mean, I don't think it says something I think it says something for them if the Thunder have a better record after moving on from Paul, who couldn't really get too much done in Houston. I think that if his team's having a better record than a team of Russ and Harden, there might be a little bit of an issue. And I think that they need two of the greatest players in the league, Russ and Harden. I think that they need to definitely change things up. The staff, man, like they traded, I think, a plethora of first round picks to OKC. I could be wrong, but for the Russ trade, like, move on from your staff. I think it has to be done. I think it's something that they need to do in order to get to this next level, because like I said, the results are not getting there. They're not there. So I am, kind of thinking, hey, let your staff go. Bring in a whole new staff. And the way they should do this is bring in a staff who thinks, or get a coach who you think is going to benefit your team the most. Like Mike Budenholzer is a great fit in Milwaukee. His first year there, won Coach of the Year. Was it Nick Nurse who won it? I'm not sure, but I think it was Mike Budenholzer. Probably win it again this year, or Nick Nurse. But, still, I think this is like Frank Vogel. I don't think he's even coaching. I mean, I guess he fits the Lakers, but I don't even think he's coaching too much because LeBron was there. No disrespect to the GOAT. I think the GOAT can't the king. But, basically, as I was saying, get a coach and a front office staff who you think will fit the best. Look at what they've done in their career. Like, I'm not saying they get Tom Thibodeau, but, like, look at a guy like Thibodeau. If he was someone you really liked, who you think can coach this team great, do it. And I think that they need to move on a change of pace from D'Antoni. I think they've been a mess, the Rockets, ever since last season. And if they got that next step, like that forward spot figured out, they'd be good. Like, you don't need someone to come in and average like 20 points a game at that spot. I think that they need some good defense, like I said, like a Marcus Morris Sr. And they could even try and get like an Oladipo, but the cap's not going to work, the flexibility. Maybe you could package some guys in a trade, but I think that they did want Jimmy Butler, and they were able to go after him with all the money they had at that time, 2019 offseason. Like, I think it was like June 30th they almost signed him, right? They signed him with the Miami Heat that day. So I'm pretty sure that if they're able to go after, get him there, then I think that they'll be good to get, not him, but like a good small forward. But if they had all the money to get Jimmy Butler with Chris Paul on the team, because I think I heard it would have been a sign and trade bit from the Sixers too. But if they had all that cap to try and sign, to take in Jimmy Butler, and they had Chris Paul, and now they have Russ, who's making a little bit less money than Paul, if you guys follow me here, try and get a decent small forward. Gordon's out of his prime right now, and if you took back less money in the Russell Westbrook trade, you might even save a few more dollars, and it's like a few more $1 million to get a player, but that's just kind of how I am viewing the whole situation. If they had the cap then and they traded Chris Paul, they should have a little bit of cap now. So I think that they definitely need to go after a player who can come in here and score 10, 12 points a game, but lock up, lock players up, play good defense, come in here and be a good six-man maybe. If I revisit that Paul trade, they moved on from Beverly, Harrell, and Williams, who are all huge parts of the Clippers team. I mean, two of them are Six-Man of the Year candidates, so I think that they definitely should have not done that trade. I don't think they should have done it, to be honest. I don't think it fits them really well. And I get the whole signing veterans things. Like, they did it once with Joe Johnson. They picked up a guy who was in free agency who got bought out of a contract and signed him. Was Joe Johnson in the league that year? I can't remember if he was. No, he was in Utah. I don't know if he got signed, but the point is, the fact of the matter is, get a center who you just get a good center, man. I'm sure there are ways around it. Like I said, if you can afford a good player now, I think you can now. So I'm pretty sure that's where my mind is at on what this team needs to do. And yeah, I think if they do it, they'll be in a way better position than they are right now. I think you all will probably agree with me there that is what they need to do to contend. Get a good center. Trade some guys on the bench. Revisiting what I said, that whole veteran thing, signing veterans, I think is fine. It's just that they need to, Tucker probably is going to get out-rebounded in the NBA too, by other centers. But, I think that he's more of a power forward, like I said. But, switching gears there from the whole veteran thing, if you want to sign a player for, half of the season, like they just did with Carroll and Green, who can help contribute, go for it. I'm not against that at all. But in the same thing, maybe you could have just signed a center in free agency who's decent. Sign a center. Trade for a center. If Tucker has to be involved in trade, so be it. He's getting up there in age, like I said. But with the whole cap flexibility thing I said, I think that they should have enough cap to be able to make a trade. That's good. I think that they definitely should have enough cap or not a trade, a signing, which is decent, like a Marcus Morris Sr. If they had all the money to get Jimmy Butler, or even if it's a sign and trade, if they could afford getting Jimmy Butler, then they definitely can afford to get a Marcus Morris Sr., who would probably like to come there. Instead of the Knicks. That's if they can lure him away from the Clippers. I keep forgetting he's on that team. But I think that that's basically what they need to do. And if you guys enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. And also, like I was saying, they should also kind of like I was saying, the whole Tucker thing, which is the main topic here. But back to the cap flexibility thing again. If they can get all that money they could sign Jimmy Butler when they had Chris Paul's $40 million contract on the team, or if they could even trade for him without trading Chris Paul or James Harden, then I think they can sign a player. If they're able to take a lot of money back like they were last year without losing Paul, Aaron Harden, and that Butler sign and trade at the signing, then they could sign a role player. So yeah. And the rumors of Butler, I get, at least. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys have not already, hit the subscribe button. Please make sure to do so for more videos like this. I do 2K videos on here. 2K Caruso Letterman scoring. Wow, Lakers. Do 2K videos. 2K rebuilds, podcasts. I do a franchise every now and then. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please make sure to leave a like. Thank you guys for coming in to today's podcast, episode 3 of the Ball Up podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time on the podcast, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.